Yeah. So hello, Ardor Next family. We are igniting the blockchain, crypto woman here, otherwise known as Elizabeth, with an old-time friend, Lee Grant. Lee has been an energetic and very creative force of the Next community from way back in the past, and he's here to reminisce a little bit with us today. Lee, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are?
Maybe I should say a little bit crazy on the other side, but you need to explore other opportunities.
I would agree that exploring opportunities is actually one of your superpowers. So
I wish I had a lot more superpowers at the moment.
well, you haven't ever disappointed as far as avenues of opportunity to explore, and some of them actually come to fruition, huh? So tell us how you found out about the NXT community and what grabbed your interest in the beginning.
Well, we'll go back to the big time of 2013, shall we? When Bitcoin hit $1,000.
Yes.
But coming from a telecoms background and looking at mobile money, which is currently the biggest trend to solve diaspora in hard-to-reach, unbanked regions, you still need transparency. Mm. And that is still something which the World Bank, IMF, UNDP are trying to resolve today. Mm-hmm. And, well, that was how I got into NXT, because I was looking at an alternative solution than mining, because of NXT was a affordable, energy-efficient solution through staking.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That
and that
was the main part.
Blockchain has the potential to really solve a lot of cross-border payment problems. And
it's not only that, it's about the cost effectiveness.
Right.
And we need to go back to the cost effectiveness of an infrastructure. Mm-hmm. Because if you look at the price of Bitcoin for the mining power, even today, it comes into the billions and billions of dollars. But if you look at NXT, it potentially, well, at that time, it was in the tens of thousands of dollars. Maybe now it's in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. But if you look at now the price of Bitcoin, the mining power, well, actually, there was a report based this year on how much electricity Bitcoin mining actually consumes.
It's countries worth.
There's a number which is the country of Romania, the consumption of a small country in Europe, Romania. And the funny thing is, the European Union did a mandate to reduce the electricity consumption by the total value of the country of Romania. But Bitcoin can possibly consume that country's worth. So how do you offset the balance?
Yeah. It's a staggering problem. I mean, it's obviously very new tech. Even Bitcoin is still new tech, 10 years old. And it's presenting problems and challenges that we have to face.
Blockchain technology is so new. It's too new. It's not even old. Yeah. Every day something changes, and blockchain technology is possibly 10, 15 years off.
Before it comes to full fruition in your mind, yeah?
Well, it may not even exist as a blockchain. It may be something called AI, IoT, blockchain, telecommunications infrastructure merged into one. So it'd be a whole new name. Because we've got to remember about cybersecurity, data. There's so many elements, big data. So we need to look at those areas, and it's an evolution process.
And you will see, friends, why I told you that Lee is creative. He can step back and see that big picture and maybe see solutions or a future that the rest of us don't quite see yet. And for that, we appreciate it, and it gives us food for thought, something to think about. But you're right, it will continue to evolve and change. We've even seen that in the 3 years of NXT, haven't we? That things are evolving and changing quite a bit. Yeah.
The whole
So,
philosophy of NXT was one thing: NXT next, to be the next generation.
yes, you're right. Now, do you remember way back in those early days, you popped in on those forums with great excitement about the finance industry, the telecoms and finance industry, and you had this wonderful idea that instead of going to a Bitcoin conference or a cryptocurrency, we called them back then,
Go
conferences,
straight to the fintech event.
we needed to go to Pay Expo, and you
Yeah.
took us there. You want to reminisce a little bit?
I think that was a defining part for NXT, because not coming out as a next generation cryptocurrency, and you can actually look at it now with Ardor, the whole idea of child chains was the next generation of technology.
Mhm.
But at that time, we must also look at something: is NXT may have been 2 years or 3, 4 years ahead of its path and not known.
And here we are 2 or 3 years later, and we have Ardor, and we still have NXT, which is still a super platform. And do you think it's about time that we're coming into our own and time for us to be known?
NXT had an opportunity to eclipse Ethereum.
Mm.
So if you go back to when I was doing the projects in Greece, Lior, one of the core developers of NXT, was there, who's also part of Ardor. We established limitations around blockchain technology as a whole, not a specific, but as a whole.
Mm.
And what is quite good is Ardor actually has a few characteristics which were established of an issue then.
Okay.
The problem is NXT Ardor doesn't have the financial backing, let's say, the hype, credibility as Ethereum. Yet, if we look at Ethereum in the early days, it was a knockoff of NXT.
It sure was. And look at us,
And complete knockoff.
without the hype, without the budget, here we still are. We have plodded on. I think it's a good I want to say the word and it's not coming. It proves a lot of things about our community, the dedication of our developers team, the dedication of our community, that we worked without that big budget steadily and consistently to this point. And you're right, we haven't been about hype. We really haven't been about hype.
But at the same time, it's been a detrimental loss.
There, you know, I will concede that, because in the crypto world, people look for hype. I hate to say that.
No. Let's forget the crypto world.
Okay, tell me what you're thinking.
Here, let's see. Here's a little ball.
Okay.
Let's put it into a little baseball nut and just throw it away.
Okay, we'll do that. Tell us what you're thinking.
There was NXT was included in a Barclays report. NXT was included in a European stock asset report from some European Union organization. Unfortunately, NXT was never able to capitalize on this.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at Ethereum, they are able to capitalize on a grain of sand.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, when NXT had a shovel, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was not able to capitalize.
Mm-hmm. Do you think maybe with our enhanced budget now from these ICOs that we might be able to do something?
No.
So as some of
the budget, it needs to be realistic right now. ICOs have gone into the hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, they have.
Market caps are in the billions of dollars. Mm. It's not about when, if you remember Pay Expo, just building up to Pay Expo, I was able to get a lot of media coverage. We went to Vienna. I still have the old T-shirt from Vienna, the original NXT. I still wear it. The blue T-shirt. It's worn now with a bit of gold here, the old gold symbol.
Uh-huh.
But the thing is, that was when NXT was worth 10, 15 million. Then it went up to nearly 100 million. and that is when it got to third in market cap.
Yes, I remember that day.
That was 100 million, let's say. It didn't even go past $100 million.
Right.
Nowadays, if you look at 2017, the ending now of 2017, how many cryptocurrencies are in the $1 billion mark?
I think at least combined, we hit that $1 billion in last week. But
Yeah, but the market cap does not mean financial backing.
no, and the
Power
other thing is
drive.
the market cap, and this is my position, is the market cap really doesn't represent all the fundamentals either. You know, the market cap, we're looking at trading, and trading is, I think, vitally important, especially at this stage of the game. It helps fund our projects. You know,
Yes and no.
not you're right, not entirely, but the fundamentals of a project, I think, are important that they're solid. That's the way in the regular fiat markets, the stock markets. You know, we always look at the true value behind a project. And I guess my position
Look, I can agree on some of that, because when we did the DragMate project using NXT, we had the webinar with Vitalik Buterin, Nick Williamson from Credits. I can't remember his name from Blackcoin now, I've forgotten it. David Johnston from Omnicoin, Factum, or Peter Kirby from Factum. I think that was what we had, let's say. And there was Brian Kelly from Wall Street. And there was a very simple question asked: put up or shut up? Can you provide one solution for Greece? Out of all of these different, you got Ethereum with Vitalik, Credits, which is a private blockchain raising money at that time, Factum, Peter Kirby raising money at that time. Yeah, Blackcoin, well, the guy from Blackcoin wasn't raising any money, but he made smart contracts on Blackcoin and Bitcoin, the Halo project. But guess what? Everyone was able to provide a theoretical nothing solution. What we did on our side in Greece was actually use NXT for every solution, every use case.
And that's something that I think that was maybe underreported, correct? The fact that
it wasn't underreported. A lot of it wasn't disclosed.
Okay, disclosed. That might be a better term to use, because the world doesn't know about that. You want to tell us how it was used?
The biggest problem you have is, if you want to go mainstream, people need to be educated. Secondly, if people don't have internet access, forget it. If people don't have smartphones, they can't use it. Now, Lior was actually on the island when we did that proof of concept, and he was going around showing people how to obtain the coins, explain about blockchain technology. I think that's most probably one of the only core developers in the world which has actually spoken to someone real.
Oh, really?
Like a real person. You know, and he was out of his space, let's say. But the reality is, there were 73 use cases done, and 69 were failures.
I see.
And when I say 69 are failures, it doesn't mean the technology specifically is a failure. In some cases, the technology may not perform as it should do. Or let's just say you don't need to use the technology at all.
So that it was misapplied.
Completely.
Yeah. So what about the 4 places that did succeed? Let's talk about those. We're celebrating. I mean, you know.
Where did it succeed? Yeah. The island of Ignis had 17% increase in tourism. It had 26,000 extra people which came to the island in 2015. So one thing is, media hype amidst the Greek financial destruction, as it was called.
Yes.
That island still had a 26,000 people increase in tourists. So it means media can provide a hype, but they benefited not indirectly by using the technology, but from the technology hype.
How?
Local economic stimulation.
Okay.
26,000 tourists, more than they had the year before and the year before.
Okay, good. Thanks for making
So
that connection.
it's a 17% increase, but it doesn't mean that the actual technology provided a real benefit, but the media side, the mayor, the president of the Business Association in 2016 said, "What are you testing this year on the island?" I was like, "We're tested out. We tested it all in 2015. Nothing more we can do."
No, that surprises me, Lee, that you're tested out. You have to have more creative ideas.
There is another project for the island, which involves real estate.
Okay, are you disclosing that
Digitizing
today, or are you just hinting to give us a little hype?
There is not going to be an ICO or a
Okay,
pre-sale.
okay,
It's about digitizing the mayor's project, which he was unable to secure funding for, but I've been able to secure possibly funding for it, but it being based on blockchain technology for digitization for transparency.
and we go back to that transparency thing again. Do you want to explain to people who might have just joined into the community and might not know a lot about blockchain yet, exactly how blockchain is transparent but can still provide anonymity?
Well, we need to go actually back to the black markets for that.
Ooh, we don't want to talk about that, do we? Okay, we
need to. I'm sorry, but we need to.
We will let you be the one to talk about that.
So one of my largest arguments for a long time was the media says, oh, it supports terrorism, it supports money laundering. And my argument was very simple. Are you really serious? Mm-hmm. If you're a good mathematician, you can make an algorithm to track, even with mixers, to track transactions on the blockchain. So the US government says it supports terrorism, money laundering, drug trafficking, but which government arrested someone, put them in prison for, what's it called? The black market, the Pirate Bay, what was his name? The pirate.
Was that Charlie Shrum?
Yeah, and then they went and arrested the actual investigators for taking bribery. So you say one thing, but you prove another.
Exactly. So we can see that the transactions are apparent, but unless you disclose some identifying elements and associate them with this account, you can attain some anonymity.
Well, at this moment in time, how do you pay your electricity? How do you pay for food?
Exactly. This is what I'm talking about. If it's self-contained.
We're not a cryptocurrency-enabled world.
Exactly. And guys, you're hearing it from who we have dubbed the bad boy of cryptocurrency, Lee Grant.
I've actually been called Lucifer of cryptocurrency, but
well,
I'll take that one as a compliment.
That works, right?
I'll take that one as a compliment.
Yes, you've stepped up a little bit. So,
but that is the perfect actual example for transparency, because there's no point saying, oh, well, it's on a database and making it very complicated for people. Because when you're, so for example, in Moldova, I assisted in setting up an association to introduce blockchain technology. In the past year, it's gained a lot of momentum, but nobody knew who blockchain technology was in the small country of Moldova, which is the most corrupt country of Europe and the poorest country of Europe. And nobody knew about it until 1 year ago.
Okay. And did you introduce them to that?
Oh, yeah. Well, I've got a letter from the central bank, and well, you've seen what I've got. I'm not going to give.
Yeah, you've got some really cool projects in the works.
And basically, it was like, how come blockchain technology is not here?
Right. If it was a great tool for corruption, correct?
Yeah, if it's meant to be that corrupt, why are you not trying to do something with your technology? Mm-hmm. But here's the problem. Every project in blockchain technology, which does an ICO, we fabricate a problem to manufacture a solution to attract millions.
We do. I mean, we as a blockchain big community.
Correct.
About us.
But what has happened is, what is it? I mean, there's a number now. Maybe $3 billion has been invested into blockchain, ICOs, or whatever it is this year.
I'm not sure.
Now, I know that some parts of Dragmay project paper ended up in another project, and they raised a lot of money, and they couldn't even correct my dyslexia spelling.
Oh, so you were able to trace it.
If you remember, I'm dyslexic.
Yes, I do remember that.
But they didn't even have the brains
to correct it.
to not even edit, just copy and paste. Let's just copy and paste.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, there is some theft. There's definitely some theft and plagiarism going on in this.
I think it's great because I'm dyslexic, and if you put that in front of an investor and he invests, it tells you about the investor.
Yeah, because even you use a spell check when it really counts, right?
Hey, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. So that means if you don't have all these people saying you've got to have a great white paper, how many people read a white paper?
Well,
they go to find a print. Well, this is how much hype we're going to do, but this is how much we're not going to do.
How much we're not going to do in terms of delivery? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, correct. Can you show me one project which has delivered?
You know what? Actually, I think I can.
Fantastic. I hope it's not called NXT.
No, but I think on January 1st we're going to see Ardor, and we're going to see some delivery.
Now I have
Let's wait and see, Lee. Let's just wait and see. Okay, give me that.
Do you recommend that?
Do I recommend what?
Ardor, is that on the plat du jour, the favorite of the day?
Well, in my book, I can recommend it for some cases. I will be one to say that it won't fit every solution. And I don't think that we need to force blockchain solutions on businesses just yet. I don't think every business is quite ready for a blockchain solution.
So, let's do a task. Ethereum failed in 2015. Factum failed. The guy from Blackcoin failed. The guy from Credits failed to provide a solution. NXT was used. So out of 5 people, 1 succeeded.
Yeah.
So Ardor should be the next generation.
Needs tested, right? Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Tell us what you have in mind. I mean, I could just see a Lee Grant idea machine churning here. That's why I'm saying, what do you have in mind here?
Let's put it through a test. A test that will have no value financially, but will be funded for the test. But if successful, could have accreditations from certain bodies.
Well, I'm thinking
and I mean government
CryptoKitties game on it. Okay, just
I would like to test. I want to test the core developers now.
Oh, okay. Well, I can't speak for the core developers, but let's
otherwise, I will just prefer to stay with NXT with my old blue T-shirt and gold symbol and my little 2015 pin given to me by Chancer. I'll stay with NXT.
Oh, Chancer, now there's somebody we haven't heard from. Missed that guy.
But I'll stay with NXT because I know it works.
It does work. It does work, and I think that right now a lot of newcomers that are coming in have the idea that NXT is going to die. But you and I know that
I don't think so, because of half of the projects I'm doing are still on NXT, and I had to buy NXT to do one project 2 days ago at a very extortionate price of $1.70
At least you
per
can buy
coin.
after hit too, right?
And I'm very disappointed in that one, but yeah, but we had to do that use case.
Yeah. Well, I think that we'll see some tests on Ardor Platform. I think we're going to see some good use cases coming right at launch. Tomorrow we have
No.
Flip.
They don't get the bad boy seal of approval on that one.
Okay, what do we have to do to win the bad boy seal of approval?
Oh, we need to cut a thin line between myth and reality now.
Okay.
Reality is NXT.
Okay.
Myth is Ardor.
Okay.
It's not tested, it's not proven. But I do know where Ardor originated from.
So here's the thing, Lee. In 6 months, you and I do this again. And you
Oh, no, we don't have 6 months, we've got 3 months.
3 months? You're on.
Oh, yeah, there will not be funding to do it in 6 months because it only has a certain amount of funding to do it.
We haven't defined what it is. Do you have an idea?
Nobody will know.
Okay.
That is the point. That is the test. You can't suddenly go and fix something when you find a bug.
Okay, well.
I know it works on NXT,
Uh-huh.
but the question is, does it work on Ardor?
We will find that out. We are actually very excited. The Ardor Genesis block will come into place. The Ardor software on the 100 hour of January 1st of 2018. So happy New Year. Lee, I like to end these little conversations with a vision of the future. And it seems to me like you're already hinting at your visions of the future, and you've given us some glimpses of how blockchain could work. So maybe we've already answered that question.
Well, I'm just looking at something. The price of NXT right now, 68 cents. Very disappointing.
No, but it still found a support level down there in the 60s. It went down.
You never should count an old dog out.
On what?
You should never count an old dog to be put to his pasture. It's like a horse or a donkey, yeah?
Right.
There's always a few more miles.
Yeah, well, I know there's a lot of people hoping for that. And, I don't think their hopes are misplaced because there is...
Oh, my hopes aren't misplaced because NXT never eclipsed Ethereum. That's something that maybe someday Ethereum doesn't have what NXT has. And in some cases, NXT doesn't have what Ethereum has. It doesn't have Vitalik Buterin and big pockets.
So we hear sometimes this word agnostic applied to cryptocurrency. I don't
Doesn't
know
exist.
Pardon me?
Doesn't exist.
You're right. Okay. But is there a place to recognize that there's more than one player in this field?
There's many players.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
But is there a room for
NXT had the opportunity it had everything before Ethereum apart from the smart contracts. Well, Ethereum is actually now suffering because of smart contracts. If you look at how many hard forks, soft forks, or whatever they do, every day there's something wallet compromise or whatever. Do you get that with NXT?
There's more promises made about delivering solutions that we already have.
Well, even Bitcoin can do that.
True.
It's not just...
To a degree, yeah.
There is a stability process.
Yeah.
I mean, I would actually look at an interoperability between Ethereum Classic and NXT.
Elaborate on that. Tell us how or why. What you're thinking.
Let's just say there's a way to make Ethereum Classic and NXT use some of their very valuable attributes.
That's an interesting idea.
No. There was a little test case done. You can use both.
Okay.
for their both internal values. So remember, NXT has got a lot of core values built in.
Mm-hmm.
Ethereum Classic, well, it has also the values of Ethereum,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not bloated by so many ICOs.
Mm-hmm. Or tainted by them.
Oh, forget the tainted part. Just think about when transactions get blocked.
That's true, because from a payments guy, that's very important to you.
So when you do Bitcoin, it gets blocked, like it did in 2015 in Greece when we were doing the project with NXT. Now you've got Ethereum. So when you have all these big ICOs, which suddenly sell out, what was it? One of them apparently sold out in 15 seconds.
That was my last foray into ICOs. I'm like, okay, I've had it.
Yeah, it's like you don't even get on the website, it's gone.
Right, right. I guess the part on that gets me about all of this is the deliverability, because it boggles my mind how many billions of dollars people are spending on promises.
It's not promises, it's an IOU.
Well, and I think it was vast.
A non-repayable IOU. You become worse than the central bank.
Yeah, and Bass what he was saying was very much like a mortgage. Or was that you when I was talking? I don't know. Somebody was telling me it's like a mortgage. Now you're telling me it's like an IOU. But you're right.
Oh, that's what it is.
There's nothing behind it, really, right?
I mean, come on. HSBC was in the news, 2 days ago? For old news, which was about 3-4 years ago, when HSBC had trucks of cash going across the Mexican-American border.
Mm-hmm.
This was in the news 4 years ago, and then it wasn't in the news. But at that time, you had the black market, Bitcoin,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and it was super inflated.
Yes.
Now you have all these ICOs, it's getting super inflated via the media. So when the media super inflate it, what happens? More people see it.
Absolutely. So
more people invest into it.
Yeah, it beats that hype. So here's a novel idea, one that I thought of, and Leor has actually written too. So these ICOs were issued on the Ethereum platform, largely, most of them lately. But number one, we've shown that an ICO can also be issued on the next blockchain, and that.
Well, NXT had the most assets registered on CoinMarketCap and also MS tokens at that point, a couple of years ago.
Yes.
But they also had a value market cap at that time compared to the market. Yeah. Now, if you look at the whole thing with Ethereum, it's just the word Ethereum.
Yeah. Here's the point, though. No matter what platform you issue your ICO on to raise your money, to develop your project, to hire your people, you do not have to stay with that same platform to develop your project. You can come.
Actually, there's quite a few projects that issue their white papers, do their ICOs on Ethereum, but they are trying to develop their own blockchain.
Their own blockchain. And those...
There is actually BitShare projects which failed on BitShares and did their ICOs on Ethereum and then went back to BitShares.
Yes, and my point in that is fine, go and work on developing your own private blockchains, but Ardor and even NXT Blockchain with our blockchain development kit can offer solutions to in some instances that already have the fully developed features. In the Ardor child chain, you can pick and choose which features you want to use.
There's a larger problem to that. If you want to run ICOs, Ethereum does have a larger following market cap. It's like Bitcoin.
They do.
So if you look at what's happened with the distribution with Ignis, it was already dumping before the actual blockchain shop, yeah? Then when it happened, it went down to what, I think 40 cents?
Ignis?
No, NXT.
Oh, okay.
So the moment the shop for Ignis distribution happened,
Hmm.
It went from 109 down to 40 cents or 45 or whatever it was. So if that's a distribution of a token, not from an ICO, you need to ask yourself a question. Is it financially sustainable to make an ICO using NXT or Ardor? Here's the real example. If you remember Omni, Mastercoin, what was that one? MadeSafe. They raised how much money in MadeSafe coins? And they actually raised quite a lot of money, in theory, but they couldn't convert it into physical money because there was no liquidity. NXT Ardor should not focus. NXT and Ardor should not focus on ICOs. It should focus on what it's designed for. And in 2015, I proved that. Problem solving and providing a solution.
You know what?
Forget the ICO market.
Well, I will probably disagree with you slightly on the ICO market, but I do appreciate that you brought us back to the fundamentals of this platform, the NXT Blockchain and the Ardor Platform, and it is problem solving. We have the solutions right here, right now, and I'm watching the clock here now. We're running out of time.
You love that clock.
No, I just, you know what's the most exciting thing right here is there are so many people that want to have a conversation with the world right now. And I think that's exciting. We'll have more. You tell me when it's time, when that test is up, and we'll know whether you're wearing an Ardor t-shirt.
When the test is up, we need to first get the developers to agree to participate.
Well, I'm not sure that we can do that.
In full control on who can access the technology.
Yeah, well, we can't do that right here in this conversation, but we might be able to do that one somewhere else. And Lee, you've been around NXT community for a long time. You've been, you obviously know a lot about the other blockchain projects too. There's a lot of people coming into the crypto space right now through our ICO of Ignis. We're getting a lot of new users, but we're also getting a lot of new users even into other coins and things like that. And people are making some serious mistakes. Can you give some words of wisdom to new people who are coming in from your point of view?
Find an idea that solves your own problem that you can share with other people. Because if you can solve your own problem, you can possibly solve other people's problems. Don't try to find problems that don't exist because you think they exist.
Yeah, so that brings us back not into forcing a solution to a problem that isn't there.
Exactly. Forget the financial gain, everything. Just focus on what can you solve in your day-to-day life and can it benefit others?
That's a good, that is such wonderful advice for all aspects of living, right? And I have to say that one of the exciting parts of doing these conversations with everybody is the characters that they're pulling out of my past, out of the woodwork. And it's been nice to reconnect with you and to hear some of your projects. I really look forward to seeing how they develop. Some of them seem really exciting, and maybe we can even share about them again sometimes in a space like this.
Well, let's hope that we can put Ardor to the test.
Well, let's talk about that. And we will do that. It was nice, Lee. Thanks for joining us, and we will say goodbye now.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.